Hermes is part of the third Olympian dynasty, represented by the sons of Zeus. As one of the 12 Olympian gods, Hermes was an important figure and features in many ancient Greek myths. Quick and intelligent, Hermes had the ability to move freely between the divine and mortal worlds, and it was this skill that made him perfect for the role of the god's messenger. In fact, he was the only Olympian god who could cross the border between the dead and the living, an ability that would come into play in several significant myths. Hermes was the son of the nymph Maia, one of the 7 daughters of Atlas, and Zeus, the god of the sky. According to some sources, his name is derived from the Greek word Herma, meaning a heap of stones like those that were used in the country as landmarks, or to indicate the boundaries of the land. Although he was a god of fertility, Hermes didn't marry and had few affairs compared to most of the Greek gods. His consorts include Aphrodite, Merope, Dryope, and Peitho. Hermes had several children, including the god Pan, Hermaphroditus with Aphrodite, Eurydos, Angelia, and Evander. Hermes is often depicted wearing a winged helmet, winged sandals, and carrying a wand, known as the caduceus. Apart from being a messenger, Hermes was a god in his own right. Hermes was the protector and patron of herdsmen, travellers, orators, literature, poets, sports, and trade. He was also the god of athletic contests, heralds, diplomacy, gymnasiums, astrology, and astronomy. Sometimes he is depicted as a clever trickster who would occasionally outwit the gods for fun or the benefit of humankind. Hermes was immortal, powerful, and his unique skill was speed. He had the ability to make people fall asleep using his staff. He was also a psychopomp, and as such had the role of escorting the newly dead to their place in the underworld. As I told you at the beginning of the video, Hermes takes part also from many Greek myths. I picked 2, which are the most representative for the Greek god, myths that made him known as the Trickster God. Hermes was an impish god who was always searching for constant amusement. When he was just a baby, he stole a herd of 50 sacred cattle that belonged to his half-brother Apollo. Although he was a baby, he was strong and clever, and he covered up the herd's tracks by attaching bark to their shoes, which made it difficult for anyone to follow them. He hid the herd in a large cave in Arcadia for several days until satyrs discovered it. This is how he came to be associated with thieves. After a hearing held by Zeus and the rest of the Olympian gods, Hermes was allowed to keep the herd, which consisted of only 48 cattle, since he'd already killed 2 of them and used their intestines to make strings for the lyre, a musical instrument he's credited for having invented. However, Hermes could only keep the herd if he gifted his lyre to Apollo, which he willingly did. Apollo gave him a shining whip in exchange, putting him in charge of the cattle herds. Another story, and one of the most celebrated mythical episodes involving Hermes, is the killing of the many-eyed giant, Argus Panoptes. The story began with Zeus's secret affair with Io, the Argive nymph. Zeus's wife Hera was quick to appear on the scene, but before she could see anything, Zeus transformed Io into a white cow to hide her. However, Hera knew of her husband's promiscuity and was not deceived. She demanded the heifer as a gift, and Zeus had no option other than to let her have it. Hera then appointed the giant Argos to guard the animal. Zeus had to free Io, so he sent Hermes to rescue her from the clutches of Argos. Hermes played beautiful music, which lulled Argos to sleep, and as soon as the giant was nodding off, he took his sword and slayed him. As a result, Hermes earned himself the title Argiophontes, which means Slayer of Argos. I hope you loved the video and that you found out at least one more thing that you didn't already know about the god Hermes. If you have anything to add about Hermes or have any thoughts you want to share, write them in the comments below. Yours truly, Mythos, the Historian.